bringing you the news and information you need from the people making a difference. This is Comcast Newsmakers.
Well, I'm glad you could join us. Cherlene Wright is with us right now. She's running for City Council in Redwood City. Nice to see you, Cherlene.
Thank you.
Interesting name. Now, tell me a little bit. Cherlene, not Charlene. Cherlene because?
My mother is Cheryl, my aunt is Charlene, and my other aunt is Vicki Lynn. So I'm actually Cherlene Lynn. I have 4 letters from each of the 3 sisters.
Okay, and you have to explain that to everybody?
Pretty much. I also have a visual. I usually tell people it's like sitting in a chair and leaning back.
That's a perfect way to remember you and remember your name, especially when you're running for office.
Well,
right?
and the right doesn't hurt either.
That's true. City Council is a responsible position. What sort of motivated you to get into politics?
I have been interested in legislation and representative government since the 8th grade, believe it or not. I went to Girls State in Sacramento in the 8th grade, and despite the adage that they say about nobody likes to see laws or sausages made, I was fascinated by the legislative process.
See. Yeah.
So it's been a goal of mine. I'm the one. I'm the
Yeah.
exception that proves the rule.
Yeah.
So it's been a goal of mine for some time. Why I decided to run now as opposed to at a different time is obviously with 2 open seats in Redwood City, it's a little easier to win if you're not trying to unseat an incumbent. But also I believe that the decisions that we make in Redwood City in the next 5 to 10 years will be affecting not just Redwood City but the entire peninsula for the next couple of generations. I think we have some fascinating opportunities in Redwood City, and I'd like to be a part of those decisions.
Well, give us one fascinating opportunity.
Well, one of the
This
things,
is your chance.
One of the things that we have going for us in Redwood City, we have a great problem. We have a jobs housing imbalance. We are an employment center. We have approximately 40,000 people that commute into Redwood City every day. That's tough on the environment, it's tough on our infrastructure, and we have space for infill development. We have underutilized properties in Redwood City, we have some open pieces of property in Redwood City, and with smart growth and looking at higher density transit-oriented development, we can actually look at the possibility of housing at least a portion. Certainly I don't want to up our population by 40,000, but I'm very interested in looking at those land use decisions and putting in some responsible higher density housing, especially along our transit corridors.
Okay, are we talking about buildings that are 4 or 5 stories high?
It depends on the area.
Or condominiums or that kind of thing?
I think it depends on the area. If you're talking about El Camino with the current ideas about a grand boulevard running up and down the peninsula, I think you can do 4 or 5 story housing there, whether that's condos or whether that's apartments. You know, we need a mix of all of those things. When you're talking about infill housing in a neighborhood, in what's been traditionally a ranch style neighborhood, I think you need to be a little bit more reasonable in your density. I think that it's important to keep in mind the character of the neighborhood, and I think it's important to keep in mind that we need a nice mix of housing in any community, and Redwood City is no exception to that.
Well, it seems to me because a lot of people come across Highway 92 and they come from that area and over into Redwood City, that you would get people who would move into Redwood City. That would up the population. But then again, it would cut down on the commute traffic and the other problems that most of these communities face.
And one of the biggest problems that I see with Redwood City right now is that many of the people who contribute to our quality of life in Redwood City, our teachers, our nurses, our firefighters, our police officers, our probation officers, are not able to afford housing in Redwood City because our housing stock is not large enough or diverse enough.
Or affordability might not be there either.
Both of which contributes to the high housing prices. I also think that when we're talking about housing, we need to realize I'm talking about a full range of housing from very low income housing up to market rate housing. And I'm well aware that it's market rate housing in any community that allows you to do that affordable housing. In particular, what I'm interested in focusing on is the workforce housing that I was saying, that I was pointing out about the teachers, the nurses, etc.
Okay, it's important to keep those people in the community, no doubt. We'll tell your mother who made up your name. She did a nice job.
Thank you. She's doing a pretty good job as my treasurer as well, and my husband is my campaign manager.
You are well versed with people who want to help you. Okay, Cherlene Wright is our guest, and she's running for City Council in Redwood City. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks, Charlie.